Hi there and welcome to Transcona Trailer Sales. Today we'll be walking you through your 2021 Imagine Grand Design 28BH. We are just going to start off at the back of the unit. If you notice right up top there, you are pre-wired for an observation camera. If you'd like to get set up with that, you can contact our parts department and they can put a quote together for you to get hooked up with that. You also have your hot water heater access right back here. And you're just going to turn that valve, open that up. First thing you're going to do when you get to your campsite is just hit that relief valve. You should get a shot of water coming out of there, letting you know that the tank's full and safe to fire up. We currently have no water coming out of there because the tank's empty, ready for customer pickup, so we wouldn't want to be firing that up. You got your 1 1/8" drain bolt right down here at the bottom. That's going to be out for all you need to worry about there. You got your spare tire at the back, as well as your standard twist lock 50 amp connection. You just take note of that your notch there. It lines up with this silver strip here. Just gonna line those two up, push it in, 1/8 turn to lock it in, and then you got that threaded collar to really lock it down. Now if you follow that cord back, you have your standard 50 amp plug end. A lot of campgrounds don't have this plug end, so we do also include this 30 amp adapter. Just keep in mind when you're going down to 30 amps of power, you can't run 2 air conditioners at once. You're only supposed to be running 1, so you will trip the circuit. You just plug that in. You got 2 blue lights on the top telling you you have a successful power source. In the back bumper, that's where you're going to keep your sewer hose. You're just going to take that, pull it out, and that sewer hose will be able to pull right on out. You got these 2 ears there. It's going to be the same 2 ears that hook up to your sewer outlet, which I'll show you in a minute. This is about 15 feet long once fully extended. We do just keep that tucked away in the back bumper here to keep most of the smell out of the unit. Keep things that little bit cleaner. In each corner, in all 4 corners of the unit, you do have stabilizer jacks. The way those works is you're going to take the tool, which we have located inside in the front compartment, hook it up to this drive nut. It is just a 3/4 inch socket. Run this foot down to the ground. Once the foot contacts the ground, just giving another 1/8 turn just to snug it up, and it's going to take any bounce or sway you see we have in the unit right now away. Now you're going to come to your sewer outlet. You got those same 2 ears in which your sewer hose had. And they just lock into place onto here like so. And then you got your black valve and your gray valve. You're always going to want to empty your black valve first. It's going to be your dirtiest water filled from your toilets. And then you can come behind that with your gray valve, which is typically a little cleaner water filled from your sinks and your showers. Then you got 2 low point drains. That's just to drain all the water that's inside the lines. Right here you do have a black tank flush. So let's say you're noticing false monitor panel readings, or you're just noticing an odor inside or around the unit. You can thread a garden hose on here. You do have to have the sewer hose connected and the tank open. It's very important you do so, otherwise you do run the risk of bursting your tank. Turn the water on and it's just going to spray the tank out, keeping things that little bit cleaner. A little further ahead, you do have 1 more valve, and that's just going to be for your galley. You're gonna again pull that one last. It's gonna be a little bit cleaner water than your black. Inside this front compartment, that's where we're gonna have this tool, and that's what we include to do your stabilizer jacks. And then we kind of get like a little system here. You got 2 110 plugs on a GFI circuit. You do have this thing here, so if you're running off the fresh tank, you're going to want to have the valve like so, but if you're running on city water, turn the valve like this, and you'll be able to pressurize all your lines without the needing to run your water pump. If you just thread a garden hose in here and turn it on, you have the battery disconnect. With it the way it is now, the batteries are connected to the unit. If you pull it out like so, the batteries become disconnected. And then you do have just like a little exterior shower kind of area with this extendable hose. You just push in, pull the collar back like an airline, locks into place. Got hot and cold water. Just pulling back will allow it to disconnect. And then in the front here, you got your battery, which is located in this little black box here. To get the tanks out, if you're to run low, just pull the cover off like so. You got 2 20-pound propane tanks that work just like home, just like a barbecue. You're just opening them up counterclockwise to open up the flow of propane to the unit. You got your front tongue jack, one way is up, the other way is down. Inside this front compartment is where we're going to include your little starter pack. So that sewer hose, that's where that came from. And then you got your 15-foot water hose, as well as some other goodies, as well as a 15-amp park adapter. In case you have this unit at home and you want to run that fridge on the driveway, you can go down to 15 amps of power. Just keep in mind, it is a 50-amp trailer, so when you're going down to 50 amps of power, when you're going down to 15 amps of power, you're only going to be running things like your lights and your fridge. That's going to be about it. You got a separate entrance for your bedroom. We're not going to be going through that entrance, but because it works the same way as the one up front. You got your furnace exhaust. Whenever your furnace is running, this is going to be blowing out hot air. Be mindful of that. Coax outlet in case you're wanting to run a TV outside, as well as a couple plugins. You got this little flap here. You always want to keep this flap open whenever you're at a campsite. It allows that range hood to evacuate those fumes. Whenever you're traveling, just snapping that into place like so, and it's going to stop any excess dust from entering the unit. You got your fresh tank fill. Put a garden hose in here, turn it on. It's going to fill your fresh tank, and that's what your water pump draws off of. And then you do have your fresh tank drain right down below here. Just pulling that valve allows that water to all drain out. You got your refrigerator service port. Not much you need to worry about there. Taking another, you do have another spray port. So that same hose they have inside the front compartment for that exterior shower on the other side can work in here as well. The only difference is this is only going to be for cold water. You won't have hot. To get this open, you just line those guys up and you can open this up. You got your little mini fridge with a little mini freezer inside. This is only 110, so it's not going to work while you're driving. It's only shore power. And then you do have a little stovetop. The hose for that is just tucked underneath here. It's just hooks up to a propane quick connect. Works the same way as the water line. You're just pushing it in there, pulling that collar back, pushing it in, locks it into place. Open up that valve, opens up the flow of propane as an added safety measure with this valve locked. With this valve open, it locks that collar so you can't operate it. So you do have to close this valve, and that's when you'll be able to disconnect it. And to get that stove to light, it is just as simple as turning those valves to high, hitting it with the lighter. Taking a step on inside, you're taking that assist hammer, pushing it up, pulling it 90 degrees, it'll lock in place. That'll allow you to open up that door. Take this little blue latch, and it'll allow you to bring those stairs down. Just taking note of these silver slats here. It lines up with these guys. It allows you to adjust those feet to your campsite needs, so you can have nice and level stairs. Taking a step on the side, first thing you notice off on your left is going to be that fire extinguisher. Just like home, pull the pin and shoot. On the wall here, you're going to have all your monitor panel readings. And then you do have your ceiling lights for the inside, as well as your exterior lights for the outside. You have your water pump. So if you turn that on, that's going to turn on your water pump, which draws from your fresh tank. And then you can either fire up that water heater on gas or electric. If you do fire it up on gas, it's going to, once you hit that button, it's going to try lighting itself 3 times. If on the 3rd try it doesn't light, this DSI fault light's going to come on. In that case, you do just have to turn this button off, wait about 30 seconds, and then you can turn it back on and it'll try relighting itself. You got your slide out button. So when you do operate this, you're just holding that out and the slide out's going to start making its way out. Once fully extended, you're going to hear the whines and the clicks of the motor. Unfortunately, today we don't have enough space to get it all the way out, because otherwise we will be contacting the wall. So I will get it out as far as I think we can. Yeah, and that's all about we're going to be able to go today. And then we do have your awning. Pushing that extend button will allow that awning to make its way out. Once fully extended, you're going to see the back of the metal tube and the little flap hang down. That awning LED strip light is on the exterior light switch. And there we go. That is about all we'll be able to go out today. It is pretty much out. Now for short range, you can take any arm, front or rear, pull down at the center here, and it's going to change the pitch of the awning head, allowing water to then run off. Now, if you like that a little better, because it does allow for more shade underneath, you can do the same thing with the front arm. Just always making sure you do push these arms back to straight whenever you bring it in. That way you don't run the risk of bending your arms. To retract it, and you're pushing that retract button, the awning's going to start rolling in. Once the arms contact the side of the trailer, the motor is just going to cut out and you're pulling in. You have some nice hangers on the wall here, as well as some storage space in here as well. And you can hook up, as long as you download the Lippert components, the One Control app. You scan this little code here, you'll be able to hook your whole system up onto Wi-Fi, of course, or Bluetooth. Of course, if you have the Bluetooth option on, you got your stairs to get up to your bunk beds. Both bunks do have USB plugins as well as a light. Taking a step into the bathroom, your light switch is just on your right. Then the other switch does turn on the fan overhead. You just having to crank that guy open and it'll allow it to evacuate those fumes. All the blinds in the unit do work the same way. They just sit where you leave them, and then one quick tug to allow them to retract back up. You got your sink with hot and cold water. Main GFI plug on the wall here. If you ever have an outlet that doesn't work, this would be the first place I'd check. You got test on the left, reset in the middle. Sink hot, or shower with hot and cold water, swivel head up top. You got your toilet, flushers on the right. Taking a step into the living room, you got your TV in your main entertainment center here. It does extend out and swivels, so if you do want to point towards the beds, you can do so. Once you get behind here, you're going to notice this red button that turns on that little red light. That does turn the satellite on the roof on. It also improves radio frequency, so I do just recommend leaving it on. And whenever you are traveling, just always making sure that this TV snaps into place. That way it doesn't go anywhere when you're moving. And then if you flip this down, it gives you access to your stereo for the unit. Of course, just like home, minus the fact of having Zone A and Zone B. Zone A is interior speakers. Zone B will be your exterior speakers. Then you do have some more room under here in case you were wanting to hook up a DVD player. The previous owners did leave this little plastic strip here to put in place just so that this doesn't open. Storage all around and above. Then you got your fridge. You can fire this on either AC power or gas. With it on auto like it is so, it's going to first search for shore power. Once shore power is taken away, it'll automatically switch over to gas. If you want it to solely run on gas, you do just have to relieve that button and it'll solely fire on gas. You have your different temperature settings over here, just having to tap that button to switch between them. Power button, and then you get your fridge down below, same thing. You get your microwave, just like home, not much I'm going to show you there. Range hood, which I've already told you about, and I do recommend always running it whenever you're running the stove, because the stove does run off propane, which puts out some fumes. Speaking of that, the stove runs off propane in the oven, as well as the furnace, so do just make sure that if this guy ever starts going off, you open up some windows and open up some vents just to ventilate it out and close off the main supply of propane at the front of the unit. To get the stove to light, you're just turning it over to that high option, hitting it with the sparker, and it fires right on up. Today we did have the propane system already running earlier, so that's why it fired up so quick. Sometimes it can take a few minutes, so just be patient with that. The same thing goes for the oven. Whenever you're using it, I like turning the light on so you can see. Turning it over to that pilot option, pushing and holding it in. Giving it a few seconds to allow all the air to exit the lines. And then you hit it with that sparker and it should hold the pilot. Just holding that in for another second and then it'll hold its own. Then you can turn it up to your desired temperature and it fires right on up. Whenever you are folding this, just be mindful it's glass, so just kind of be careful with it. Storage all around, some more space over here. This couch does fold out into a bed. You're just having to grab the foot of it. And you have to take these cushions off grab the foot of it, pull out, and then you have those two legs that fold down. You'd be able to fold this down and then fold back down to get it to go back in. It's just the opposite. And putting your cushions back into place. Again, all the blinds in the unit do work the same way. They just kind of sit where you leave them, and pulling them once will allow them to retract. Getting to your dinette, you do have some push button lights above. Right down below, you can turn this into a bed as well. You're just having to unlock the safety and then just assisting it, folding it, making sure it's not strapped in any way, of course. You can kind of pull it out because it does make it easier, and you're just kind of pulling it towards you as long as it's in the right position, and then it'll fold down. And then to get it back up, you just kind of have to lift and push at the same time. It is a little difficult, so if you have two people, it would be good. You just kind of put your foot there and lift it back up, and then just making sure that this is locked into place so it can't go anywhere, and that's it, sitting where it is. But it would just fold down, and you can take your back cushions to fill in the center. It could make another bed. One thing I'll mention again, underneath here in this last door, you got your main fuse breaker panel. Whenever breaker trips, it's going to sit in the middle, so you do just have to turn it off and then back on again to reset it. And whenever you have a fuse blow, there'll be a little red indicator light letting you know which one's blown. Whenever you're running the AC, you do have a couple options. You can leave these louvers closed, in which case it moves all its air through the ceiling ducting, or you can open them up. It's going to dump all its air into the main living space here, depending on where you want the air. On the wall, you're going to have your thermostat. It's going to be kind of hard to see because we can't get the slide all the way out. You got your power button right in the middle. You got to push and hold that to turn on the system. It's going to go to your last known setting. So right now we're in cool, so that's air conditioning. So you can push plus and minus to change the temperature. If you want to change the fan speed, you just have to hit the fan button. A is going to be automatic, so it becomes an on-demand system, so it'll kick in and out as needed, and it'll decide the fan speed depending on what your room's at. Hitting that button, the power button again, will change you over to heat, and then that fires up the furnace, in which case it moves all its air through the floor portals you see around. You do have to have the propane on for that to work. And then one more time we'll bring you into fan. Now that's just the fan moving air around with the air conditioner. And then of course there's dry, and it's going to try and take as much humidity out of the air as possible with running the air conditioner and the fan. And then just pushing and holding the power button will turn it off. Taking a step into the bedroom, your light is on your left. You have a TV backer right here, as well as some plugins for that. You got your fire exit. So if you take this little red tab, pull it, the screen will pop right out of place, and then you can take your handle, push it on out, and hop out of the unit. The bed does have some storage underneath. You're just having to pick it up a little bit, and it has some assist struts to bring it up. And then to bring it down, you just push on it. You got storage all around the bed, of course, as well. You do have a spot for another fan here if you want to do so, or you are pre-wired for a second air conditioner. If you had 50 amp service, you could do that too. Storage all around. That's going to be it for this unit here. If you have any other questions, feel free to give us a call.